Hey, it's your friend Scott Bennett with Invest with Rules, where we follow the trend, we follow big money, and we follow risk management rules. And today I wanted to share what's at the top of our watch list. Stick around, there's a couple tickers you are definitely going to want to check out. Here we go. So, our watch list, what we do is we look at both stocks that the billion dollar fund managers are accumulating. And then if it's an ETF, we're also looking at the trend. So, the trend plus accumulation. And what we're doing specifically is we're looking at this stage two advancing phase. If you remember back to Stan Weinstein's analysis, we've tweaked it a little bit for our proprietary process, but we're looking for both short-term and long-term uptrends that are not too extended. Before we dive in, world's quickest disclosure, this is just information, not a direct solicitation to go buy or sell anything. Please always manage your risk, do your due diligence. Let's dive into our ticker. Very first one. We're going to look at PDBC, which is a diversified commodity basket. It's managed futures in the bundle of an ETF. So it has energy like oils, it has precious metals, it has agriculture, it has a little bit of everything. And this has been running really nicely, and it's at the very top of our watch list. So it's in a short term and long term uptrend, that green gas signal. And today it also received a green upward facing arrow, which has a likelihood, a confirmation that the trend could continue and you're breaking out over the highs of May 4th. It had a massive run back in February at the start of the conflict in Iran because it does own a lot of energy and oil. And then it consolidated. You can see where these red downward facing, we call those check engine lights. It actually undercut the 21-day exponential moving average, that green dash line, and it soared higher to an extended level, kind of back checked to the 21-day EMA, and off it goes. In full and fair disclosure, we do own this in our advisory practice, IWR Advisors. Let's look at the next one. So PDBC is number 15 out of 98 on our ETF rank, where we do that every day. Next, let's look at silver, SLV, physical silver, which had a huge run. And we caught most of that in our newsletter, Invest with Rules, and our advisory practice. So let's look at what we're looking at today. So it had some would call a climax top. You move to a coast signal, and it's been pretty choppy and volatile ever since. Let's just draw a trend line and tell you what we're seeing. So our process, it's quantitative. So it's an engine that we built, and you'll see that on we had two early indicators. So on a coast signal on May 1st and May 4th, we had hey, there's a higher probability you're moving to a gas signal, short-term and long-term uptrend. And then on that would be May 6th, May 7th, May 8th, 11th, and 12th. There's a higher probability that this broke out and kind of climbed over the trend line and it's making another run. So I know silver was off a lot of people's radar over here, but maybe it should be back. So manage risk. So that's number 18 out of 98 on our ETF rank. We're going to move over to stocks next. We're going to go to StarBucks. Let's look and let's bring this chart back. So Brian Nichols left Chipotle, is trying to jumpstart Starbucks. It is on a short-term and long-term uptrend. It's flirting with a major trend line breakout. It had a gap up after earnings at the end of April. It's been chopping around, and you're getting lots of confirmation signals that this high tight flag will potentially end with a breakout. So, one for the radar, Starbucks coming back with growth, short-term, long-term uptrends. The funds are there. It's number 19 out of 120 on our billion-dollar fund manager rank. I'm going to give you another stock. We'll go Coherent, COHR, Coherent in the electrical data center build-out space. It's been an incredible run. So this would have first given you the flag that, hey, something deserves your attention all the way back in June of 2025. That would have been pretty special. If you took that gas signal, you'd be sitting on a 300 and almost 350% rate of return. And this one is being accumulated by large funds. It had a little bit of consolidation, and we did receive its confirmation signal today. It had a pretty difficult shakeout and recovery, short-term, long-term uptrend. You can kind of see where it kind of formed and kind of undercut and rallied from today. I know it sounds wild, but these stocks could still potentially go an awful lot higher as long as the overall risk in semiconductor trades are still on. So Coherent, in full and fair disclosure, we do own Coherent and StarBucks in our advisory practice, but this one is still at the top of our list. Let's go to the next one, Guardant Health, GH on your ticker. This one has come all the way down to the 200-day simple moving average, that black dash line, and it's back above. So you kind of had a big base. We're forming the right-hand side of the base at the moment. The thing I thought was really interesting is, well, it's short-term, long-term uptrend. The funds are accumulating. Coherent was number 20 on our report. Guardant is number 21. So they're climbing up our reports very quickly. So you've received a confirmation signal all the way back on April 14th. It did one final check back. And on May 4th, you got your gas signal. If I were to draw a trend line, maybe you could draw it here. You can kind of see how the trend roadmap is designed to help you if you're not the world's best trend line drawer. But this could potentially climb up the right-hand side of the base as the earnings and as the sales are pretty impressive. I know I'm not sure if this one's earnings positive, but they're making a lot of progress. So Guardant Health, the funds are accumulating. They were recently accumulating during this downdraft where you see all these red downward arrows, and then the red arrows left. That was the bottom of your base, and off it's running. All right, I'm going to pause here. I have my final, and usually we do 5, but we'll do 6 this time. Before I do, let's look at the S&P 500. This is not on our watch list at the top, but I think it's a really important for how the rest of the market does. So here's the S&P 500. And back, you had an early cheat on April 2nd, 6th, and 7th. You received these green upward facing arrows. Pretty interesting. We got the kind of coast is clear, jump in the pond, jump in the lake. It's gas signal on April 8th with a confirmation signal. That's when it was on our watch list at the very beginning. And it's been climbing ever since. These orange boxes signify when it's a relative strength index over 68. So that would tell us to pause and be patient. The time to be buying was over here. And it continues to climb. It undercut yesterday and the day before's pricing and rallied even to today. So still on a gas signal. This market is still acting extraordinarily strong. If this is something where you're like, gosh, these are pretty cool charts, we share these with members of Invest with Rules. We give the S&P 500 ticker tool, just the S&P, completely for free. If you go to investwithrules.com, you can kind of take any line chart as you see, and it gives you all the details. So no obligation. It's just type in your name and email, and we'll send it off to you, and we hope it helps you. So I'm going to go to my last and final item at the top of our watch list at Invest with Rules today. Copper miners, COPX, the Copper Miners ETF. And here's what I think is pretty interesting is you had your trend line breakout today, short-term, long-term uptrend. It's been on a gas for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, and you had some serious volume. So higher probability that it could retest highs. If you look at physical copper, which is not the most tax sensitive thing in the world, that's on a gas signal as well, on an overheat, but copper miners are not. And so that's something certainly for your watch list. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, go to investwithrules.com, get that free S&P 500 ticker tool, follow the trend, follow big money, and follow risk management rules. I hope you do really well this week. I hope this helped you identify some uptrends or things coming to uptrends, but please always do your due diligence, manage your risk tolerance. This is not a direct solicitation, just things for your watch list. I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you at investwithrules.com.